You're either shallow or you're just trying to copy my answer.
Stop making me laugh.
Should I mute him?
There may be a ray of hope for all you friend-zoned kids out there, because as it turns out, if you keep at it for long enough, if you keep playing your cards right, you might just break through, even if the other person is freaking Rihanna. That's right, guys. Today, we're talking about how ASAP Rocky managed to break out of the friend zone to join RiRi as one of the celeb world's most beloved couples. Now, these days, with Rihanna expecting a child and not being shy about it as we expect her to be, it's no secret that the kid's father and the singer's closest partner yet is the F-Problems artist ASAP Rocky. And it's not like that announcement came completely out of nowhere. Instead, the couple has been official since last year and has constantly been the most popular theory from fans of RiRi as to who she's dating. But if you rewind back a few years, not even Rocky himself would have been able to guess where they'd end up. Because as it turns out, Rihanna had been purposefully keeping the guy in the friend zone for years. But before we get into how he got out, let's take a look at the timeline of their relationship. Fans of both artists will probably remember back in 2020 when the two were seen practically making googly eyes at each other in a set of very flirty videos for Vogue and GQ. And that made many newer fans think that that was just the way the two had been, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Because it was only after a whole year had passed from those videos that Rocky finally confirmed the rumors in the most perfect way possible, by calling her the love of his life and the one. Which I think is really cute, coming from the same man who wrote stuff like LSD. And in fact, a month before the announcement, there had already been paparazzi reports, with one particular source telling Us Weekly that the two were spotted holding hands and laughing during a night out in LA. And while that makes it seem like it was a long time coming, that, as we mentioned, was not the case before. That's because while it is apparent now that the two are both each other's partners as well as best friends, that latter part actually came first. So let's get into that. You see, for years, both Rihanna and Rocky have been really supportive of each other's careers. And while that usually means stuff like music collaborations, for this pair, that meant starring again repeatedly, and much more cutely, with Rocky partnering up with Ri for a skincare campaign for one of her ventures. Which, if I'm not projecting, is exactly the kind of stuff that people in the friend zone do. But since he got through, let's not knock it too much. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, according to sources, Rocky was, quote, always the instigator when it came on to being flirty and showing interest. And while the fashion diva did enjoy his company, it was only, say it with me, as a friend. One source even said that Rihanna, quote, would brush off his advances and keep him in the friend zone. But Rocky was not one to give up easily, so much so that by 2012, the two were already on the fandom radar when they teamed up for a very on-the-nose performance at the MTV Video Music Awards, and ASAP jumped on a remix of Rihanna's Cockiness. And that was basically the start of the will they, won't they game that fans of both artists started getting invested in. And while stuff often went sideways, such as the time when Rocky was confirmed to be dating model Chanel Iman somehow, the two never really stuck with anyone else, and stuff would always change if they tried to go any other way. For example, in the case of Chanel, it was Rocky who ended up causing the relationship to break after reports that he had a one-night stand with Rita Ora surfaced. On the other side, Rihanna tried to get into a relationship with none other than Rocky's collaborator Drake, which is stiff competition to say the least. But once again, stuff never took off. At the same time, the two seemed to get flirtier and flirtier, while denying all allegations that they were getting close. I mean, on one side, we have a 2015 interview of Rocky with NYC Radio where he denied ever dating the Fenty goddess, saying, "It never happened. If it happened, then it would have happened. We didn't do that. That's not what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the friendship that I already have." Which is cute, sure, but are you really that sure your heart is in it, Rocky? because just a while later, the two of you were spotted sitting side by side in the front row at a Louis Vuitton show, with photographs of both smiling together while the absolute legend had his arm draped around Rihanna. Now, fans of RiRi will remember that during that time, Rihanna was supposed to be dating Saudi businessman Hassan Jameel. Meanwhile, Rocky had rumors starting to float about him and Kendall Jenner, which was not ideal for both of them. First because A, they're not together, duh, and B, Rihanna absolutely hates Kendall, so Rocky was on thin ice for sure. But if you've watched as many Friends to Lovers rom-coms as I have, you already know what this is building up to. Because while both of them did go through with those relationships, and even got more apart as a result, around 2019, the same time that they were spotted at the Louis Vuitton show, their other relationships were officially over. Rocky, for one, had only hooked up with Kendall, and Rihanna ended up cutting off with Jameel too. And with that, all that remained for them during that time was to finally make it. And well, that's the point where I think Rocky officially came out of the friend zone, when he decided to comfort Rihanna after her breakup instead of leaving her alone. In fact, he went as far as to support Fenty too, which was still not the giant that it is today, earning him the first of a few loving mentions from his eventual love when Rihanna posted a picture of them on the red carpet with a caption that read, "And thank you ASAP Rocky for representing us on the red carpet and always being so supportive of Fenty." And well, that was basically what started the domino effect. Later that year, the two were seen performing together at many sites on Rocky's sets. And a year later, the two made the first proper public appearance that made people think that something was up. In a Vogue interview, the two gave fans a heart attack just from being as giddy as two middle schoolers. In fact, during one of the 15 questions, Rihanna even told the rapper he had, quote, pretty skin. Which, coming from the woman you love, is a big thing. But coming from literally Rihanna is basically a godsend. And he returned the compliment when she asked him about the hardest part of working with her on her Fenty campaign.
What was the hardest part about working with me on Fenty Skin? I can tell you what that is. Not laughing the whole time.
Which is just the cutest thing that I've heard the guy, or any guy, ever say. And well, that was about it. In just a year, the rumors surrounding the two started growing more and more, until in 2021, in a GQ interview, the rapper officially made the couple public. So much better when you got the one. She amounts to probably like 1 million of the other ones. I think when you know, you know. She's the one. And even revealed how the couple was actually supporting each other as artists, saying, "It's important to have somebody that you can bounce those creative juices and ideas off of. It's just a different point of view." Since then, everything has basically been a dream. During the interview, he revealed that the two had spent Christmas at RiRi's home with her family. And just a year later, Rihanna confirmed that he was in fact the father of her child. And that's basically the story of how ASAP Rocky got out of the friend zone, shockingly, by being a really good and supportive friend with a lot of talent and incessant flirting thrown in. And while I doubt you'll score someone like Rihanna herself, I think the lesson to be learned here is that if you keep doing what ASAP did, you too can find your own Rihanna. Click on any one of the 4 videos on your screen right now.